The water is cold and dark, 18 miles off the coast of San Francisco. Below the surface, a diver named James Mosquito holds his breath, knife in hand, floating inches from an eye the size of a grapefruit. That eye belongs to a 50-ton humpback whale, and it's watching his every move. The whale is trapped, tangled in a web of heavy nylon ropes and crab traps, pulling her down. She's exhausted, terrified, and has every reason to see this small, strange creature as the final danger. A single flick of her tail could end his life in an instant. And in that moment, a question hangs in the water. Does this animal know I'm here to help, or is she just too tired to fight back? This one encounter unlocks one of the most profound questions in all of science. Do wild animals actually understand when we're trying to help them, or is something else going on entirely? The answer is far more complex and remarkable than you might imagine. A wild animal may not understand your words, but it can read your movement, remember your face, and sometimes it remembers the exact moment fear turned into relief. The story starts on a Sunday morning in December 2005. A crab fisherman out near the Farallon Islands noticed a whale struggling just to keep her blowhole above the waves. He made a call, and a small team of volunteer divers, including James Mosquito, motored out for 2 hours, scanning the horizon, skeptical they'd even find her. But then they saw it, a collection of crab pot buoys where they shouldn't be, and the heartbreaking reality attached to them. A 50-foot female humpback, hopelessly ensnared. It was a nightmare. Hundreds of feet of thick nylon rope were wrapped around her body, cinched around her tail, her torso, and one flipper. A rope was even threaded through her mouth like a bridle. The weight of at least a dozen 90-pound crab traps was pulling her down. The ropes had dug so deep into her skin, they'd carved wounds into her blubber. She was dying from drowning and exhaustion. The team knew the risks were astronomical. While whale disentanglement efforts had been developing for years, a rescue on this scale had never been successfully done on the West Coast. The protocol didn't really exist. The only option was to get in the water. Mosquito and another diver slipped beneath the surface into the chilling water, which off the Farallons is known territory for great white sharks. At first, the whale was frantic. As Mosquito approached, her giant tail would crash down inches from his head. He backed off. He waited. He needed her to understand that he wasn't another source of pain. The divers were careful. They moved slowly. They never approached her head-on. They touched the ropes, not her body. And then something shifted. The whale, which had been fighting for its life, became completely still. It was a terrifying, profound moment of trust. For hours, the divers worked with small, curved knives, sawing through the ropes. Mosquito remembers being face to face with the whale, her enormous eye tracking his every movement. She watched him, and she let him work. Rope by rope, the tension lessened. Finally, after hours of painstaking work, the last rope fell away. She was free. But what happened next is what has left people speechless for years. The whale didn't flee. She swam in what the divers described as joyous circles. Then she came back. She approached each of the 4 divers one by one and nudged them gently, pushing them softly through the water. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't an accident. To every single person there, it felt like a thank you. As Mosquito later said, it felt to me like it was thanking us. This raises a fascinating question. Why would a creature of that size and power in a state of terror become so cooperative? Was it really a moment of understanding or something else at play? Think about this. To a wild animal, a human is usually a predator. Every species runs a constant subconscious threat assessment program. It tracks speed, direction, eye contact, and whether movements are predictable or erratic. A predator moves with purpose. It closes distance. It fixates on its target. These cues trigger a hardwired response, fight or flight. For most of the animal kingdom, the human form is a primary threat signature. So when a human does not act like a predator, it creates a neurological puzzle. A rescuer moves slowly. They approach indirectly. Their body language is non-threatening. When an animal's brain searches its library of threat signatures for this pattern, it comes back empty.
With no recognized pattern, the animal's crisis response can pause. It doesn't necessarily understand the concept of help. Instead, it recognizes not a threat. This pause, this stillness born from instinctual uncertainty, is the critical window where a rescue can happen. Sometimes the interaction goes further than a pause and looks like a deliberate plea for help. These cases are rarer and more astonishing. One example happened January 11th, 2013, off Kona, Hawaii. A group of divers was in the water when a bottlenose dolphin appeared. It wasn't just passing by. It swam directly into the group of humans with uncharacteristic lack of fear. The divers immediately knew something was wrong. A fishing hook was embedded in its fin, with line wrapped tightly. In an incredible display of trust, the dolphin positioned itself near the dive master, Keller Laros, and waited. The diver carefully removed the hook. The dolphin remained patient and deliberate. Then it returned to the group, lingered, and swam off into the night. Marine biologists were amazed. It seemed to ask for help. What happens after rescue? rescue is over. Some animals don't just survive the rescue, they remember. Emotionally intense experiences create powerful, long-lasting memory traces. Fear, pain, and relief get etched deeply into the brain. The crow demonstrates this vividly. In experiments by Dr. John Marsloff, researchers wore masks while trapping crows. Later, crows attacked the dangerous mask for years. Even untrained crows learned it socially, spreading memory through the flock. But crows also show kindness memory. People who feed them receive gifts like shiny objects, suggesting reciprocity and relationship tracking. They remember behavior, not just faces. Across species, this social memory appears again. Damien Aspinall reunited with a gorilla named Queeby after 5 years. The gorilla recognized him and embraced him deeply, showing powerful long-term social bond retention. Beyond memory, scientists explore empathy circuits like von Economo neurons, found in humans, elephants, and whales. These brain cells support rapid social intuition and emotional processing, suggesting shared biological roots for complex social behavior. Elephants show similar signs of empathy and mourning behavior, staying with bones of deceased family members, gently interacting with humans in distress situations. So, do wild animals know you're trying to help? The answer is complex. They may not understand language or abstract intent, but they read behavior with extreme precision. They detect not a threat signals. They pause under uncertainty, and sometimes that pause becomes trust. And in rare cases, they form memory of the encounter that lasts for years. Maybe they don't understand help the way we do, but they understand behavior, and in the wild, behavior is everything.